So today I've got a new package. Let's open it up. Comes in a bag. We've got some adjustment tools, the CubeHead logo that I actually got because of the discount code, this nice little card that actually has a scramble in here, and then another card, and here's the back. They printed this part like really small. I think you can see it. Yeah, you probably could barely see it. And even more adjustment tools. And that's actually pretty much it in this bag. Let's open it up. We got the little robot, the actual CubeHead on here. When I was actually rewatching CubeHead's video on this, I actually went to check back on the footage and robot itself, and indeed I actually got one of the earlier ones that is actually signed, so that's pretty cool. And the cube itself, which is UV coated. I think now it's time to actually do first turns on it. I guess because the cube is currently scrambled right now, I guess let's try and do a solve. Yeah, 13-second solve. Not bad, but not the best that I have. Okay, now I think after that solve, let's actually do some first turns on this cube. I guess actual first turns aside from that solve. It actually feels a lot different than my regular RS3M V5. I think with the way that they set up this cube, it sounds a lot more muffled than how clacky my RS3M V5 is normally. I kind of like it. It's actually a lot more muffled, and it definitely feels a lot better set up than the way I actually set this cube up. And it also seems like it's going to perform a lot better than my cube that I set up on my own. Although I don't think I put much lube in this cube. However, it has kind of like a way softer feeling than the one I have here. But otherwise, still feels pretty similar. Like I can still tell it's a RS3M V5. And I think I'm kind of really liking it in comparison to my own setup RS3M V5. I think mainly just because like it's actually set up like really fast, and that's kind of what I want from most of my cubes. And I just because this also has a ball core, it's also pretty stable, and it also seems to actually keep its shape a lot better than like if I do this, and yeah, it doesn't keep its shape. I'm like, if I do that, it actually does it? Okay, I can tell auto aligning a little bit. I don't think as much as on this Worm V9. Like you can see here, it actually auto aligns on my Worm V9. But I think the way it doesn't really auto align that much, like it still does it. I think it's kind of good because I feel like with the Worm V9, I actually don't really have problems with the auto aligning system on here. Like it actually helps me a little bit. But on some cubes, the auto aligning is sometimes way too strong where it feels like it just takes away your own control. Like aside from the corner-to-core magnets, usually adding more stability, more control, and stuff like that to your cube. I feel like if you have too much of the auto aligning, if you have too much of the features with the edge repelling magnets like on the Worm V9 and the GAN 13, if you have too much auto aligning, it definitely does take away your control of the cube. Like it will do things that like if you want to finish a turn, like aside from it finishing it for you, it might like turn it the other way around, and you wouldn't want that. So I think something like this and maybe a lesser version on the Worm V9 is pretty good. It has a more softer feeling. It's not really as clacky as my own RS3M V5, and kind of like it. So I'm probably going to be doing a bunch of solves, and we'll do a little mini review and talk about my final thoughts on this cube. Okay, so I've been using the Yoo Cube V2 for about a day now, and I think I'm ready to talk about this cube now. The Yoo Cube V2 is set up with Dignitas, Mystic, DNM, and something new to the Yoo Cube lineup, FC Rush. Because normally the Yoo Cubes are set up with Mystic, Dignitas, WeiLong, and DNM. And I think as a result of that, the added lubes of FC Rush, the cube is actually a lot more faster and more enjoyable to use because of that. I actually did try a Yoo Cube Deluxe V2 that one of my friends got, and I didn't really like it that much because I felt like it was really slow and it didn't really work for my turning style. But I think because this is also a MoYu cube and the original Yoo Cube was also a MoYu cube, I think it actually works like pretty well with the RS3M V5. It's really fast. It's set up really loose, not too loose to where it causes pots, but also really loose to where the corner cutting on it is pretty good. Whenever I do turns and do solves, I don't feel like the corner cutting is actually hindering my solves. Like, it actually does the things I actually want it to do. I do end up turning layers I don't want to turn sometimes, but that can be attributed to skill issue. So, and I think the performance has been really good, and I've been getting my normal times, sometimes even better times. I think I actually got a string of sub-10s like a few hours ago, which is kind of surprising. I think this cube, because of the setup of it and how well it has been set up, it has made me want to cube more and want to solve more with this cube, and it's just really enjoyable to turn. For the price, it's $43, which is actually putting it into Worm V9 territory, and it is $18 more than the standard RS3M V5. But I think with that, you are getting a setup cube, the cube robot with the customized logo on it, and a few cards that CubeHead designed himself, I'm pretty sure. But at the same time, I feel like you could get the cube itself, the RS3M V5, for $25, buy a bunch of the lubes that were actually used in this cube, and set it up yourself for a bit cheaper. And I think that's something to think about when you are buying this cube, because you do get the extras and you do get stuff like that. But I feel like if you do somehow find a good setting on this cube and also set it up pretty much the same way as this cube would be, I think you'd be getting a pretty similar experience to actually just buying the Yoo Cube. And I think it will be a little bit more sentimental to you that you actually set up this cube rather than just buying a pre-set up cube like this. So, and I think that if you can't figure out how to set up the RS3M V5, or you're thinking of getting an RS3M V5 and you're not really good at setting up cubes, then consider getting the Yoo Cube. But if you're pretty good at setting up cubes, then maybe getting the standard RS3M V5 will teach you a valuable skill in cubing to make sure that your cubes will perform really well. And also, if you do want to support CubeHead, this is definitely a good option of doing that, because part of the price that you pay for the Yoo Cube V2 will be going to support his channel. So I think that's also a pretty good win-win right there. So yeah, I think with that, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.